So as I said, today is typically when we would chat with Carmi Levy about tech, but something much more important today. And Carmi let me know this in an email earlier today. So Carmi, and I didn't remember this, so I'm glad you brought it up. But back in 2013, and you're a fairly young man, you actually had a stroke. Thankfully, you recovered completely. And you actually, thanks to your wife, she's the one who recognized the signs. So I bring that up because this is Stroke Month, the entire month of June. And there is a protocol to recognize if someone else is in distress and having a stroke, and that's what we want to talk about today because I know they launched this, the stroke campaign, launched only a year after you went through this. So this is particularly, of course, of importance to you. So first of all, let's go through that. It's called FAST. How did you discover this, by the way? I mean, obviously your wife, you said, knew something was up. Did she know the protocol?
She did. She's a teacher, so she it was part of her training. They, of course, receive annual medical training updates for their qualifications in class. And so she had been learning this for years, and she knew what to look for. And of course, FAST has been around. The Heart and Stroke Foundation has first launched FAST as a campaign in 2014, but the basics of looking for the signs of a stroke, my wife had been aware of for years, and it was August, so she was preparing for her class. She was in the house on the other side of the patio door where I was barbecuing. She saw me collapse, and she came right out and knew exactly what to do. And without that, we all know that in stroke, time is of the essence. The longer you wait for medical attention, the more brain cells die. The faster you get that attention, the quicker you can return to hopefully a normal life. And so she recognized it immediately and was immediately assessing me, asking the questions that she needed to ask, recognized quickly that I was paralyzed down my right side. I could not respond to her verbally, that obviously it was a stroke or similar event, and she had our kids call 911 immediately. I think within 5 minutes I could hear the sirens.
And so that first 5 minutes obviously is important. You said you couldn't verbalize anything to her. So did she know about is the aspirin part of the protocol here?
It certainly is, and I take aspirin every day now as part of my post-stroke protocol, and is just associated with reducing the risk of subsequent stroke.
So let's go through it. I mean, yes, I know it's been out there for a while, and it's so simple, it's easy as well, because it's simply called FAST. Can you run through this for us and give people an idea? It is Stroke Month, what to look for.
Yeah, so FAST is an acronym. So the F in FAST stands for face, and so what you're looking for is it drooping? Is one side lower than the other, or otherwise does it look off? Usually in case of stroke, there will be some form of paralysis, and it'll show itself in the face quite obviously, as it did in my case. A stands for arms. Are you able to raise both of your arms? Because if one side of your body is compromised, obviously that will not be the case. And so, A, arms, raise them? No, that's another check mark. S stands for speech. Is it slurred? Is it jumbled? Are you able to put your words together? Do you sound like you're able to speak or not? Is that problematic? I mean, my life is speaking, so obviously if I wasn't able to speak, that was a pretty major tell. And the last one is time. The T stands for time, and that is as soon as you've gone through FAS and determined that, there are signs here that are problematic, you call 911 immediately, and you do not wait. And we hear so often about ER delays and waiting for so long. Let me tell you, stroke protocol means you show up, they take you ahead of everyone else. You're not going to be sitting there for 24 hours. They will assess you immediately, and all of their resources will be devoted to you. So time is absolutely critical. I've heard so many cases of people who waved it off. No, I don't have to go to the ER. Don't worry, I'm fine. I'll just sleep it off. Only days later to realize, okay, now I'll go to the hospital. But of course, by then it's too late. So rather be embarrassed by a false positive than to live with regret the rest of your life. So time is probably, of all of them, is probably the most important of the FAST. And you can find it. There is how do we make sure that it's always in front of us? Heartandstroke.ca, the Heart and Stroke Foundation website, has a rundown of FAST. There's a really great graphic there. Take it, print it out, put it on your fridge, make sure everyone in your family knows it, keep it front and center because you never know.
I'm just curious, this idea, and I hadn't even realized that you say, I'll just sleep it off. People recover, they think they're getting better, and then days later, you're suggesting this gets to a point where it's not even reversible.
That's right, because with stroke, of course, the longer your brain is not receiving blood flow, then the more brain cells die. We know full well we're not making new brain cells, so we lose brain capacity. So we have a window of opportunity, and that lasts a certain number of hours after the initial event. So if you're going to hang around for days without seeking medical help, then you're not going to be able to reverse that. You're not going to be able to treat the stroke. The damage will be done, and it is irreversible. So the faster you respond, the more likely it will be that you will have a positive outcome. The longer you wait to respond, the more likely it is that you'll either be left with debilitating artifacts, going forward, that you'll have cognitive impact or physical impact or both, or you may not even live to tell the tale. So this is one of those cases where, and I've had members of my family who have waved it off as well. You've got to push through. If you're a witness to this, push through and do not allow them to say no. Force them to accept offers of medical help, because it will make the difference. So
in your case, we're going back to 2013. This is like 11 years ago. What did you, after your wife recognized something was going on and called 911, you said you heard the ambulance come. What was the treatment like when they took you directly to hospital?
It was immediate. So, I don't think I have ever seen a faster approval of a CT scan and then an MRI. So, like within hours, I was scanned on both. The CT scan confirmed that there was something. Mm-hmm. The MRI gave them a much more precise view of what was going on. The drugs required to reverse the effect of those blockages were on board fairly quickly. The neurological team was, I lost count of how many neurologists and other doctors came to see me. They all looked at me kind of funny because I was a lot younger and in a lot better health than the typical stroke patient. Right. And that was another sort of message from all of them, is that we tend to think of stroke as an illness or an event associated with older people who may not be all that healthy. But what heart and stroke data shows is that it is all demographics. It's showing up in younger people. It's showing up in healthier people as well, who may not necessarily have all of the risk factors. I had none of them. It was a freak accident. I turned my head wrong on my bike and I tore my carotid artery. So, wow. The lesson here is that it could be you, even if you think it isn't.
Again, I don't want to dwell on this. You're fine now and everything is okay. Beyond the treatment, I mean, was this an event where, you sort of felt better an hour later or 2 hours later and kind of wondered what had happened, or does this linger? How does it work?
Well, I mean, within about 24 hours, I had regained my ability to walk, and I was able to speak again, and I was kind of back to myself.
It took a whole day for that. It took a whole day for that to happen.
It took a whole day for it to happen, and then they kicked me out once they were sure that I was fine. Mm-hmm. And it came and it went a little bit, and I felt I had feeling on my right side, then I didn't, and then I had it, and then within a day they were like, okay, like you're fine now. We're going to kick you out. We're going to sign you and you're done. To this day, though, I still have, let's just call my balance not all that great. I tend to get dizzy if I look up for too long or too quickly. Airplanes fly overhead, and I used to just stare at them. I don't do that anymore because I will get dizzy, and sometimes I have to lean against the wall if I lose my balance. So it's minor. I can handle it, and if that's all I've got from this major event, then I'm a pretty happy guy. It could have been so much worse. Cognitively, I'm still Carmi. I'm still the person that I was beforehand. And compared to so many other stories that I've heard that were not so positive, I realize just how lucky I am. Wow. And it's why I decided to be one of the voices to sort of raise awareness. It could be anyone, and if one person hears my story and says, I'm now more aware, I'm going to train and fast, and I'm going to learn it. If it makes one person recognize it, then I think it's worth it.
The website is heartandstroke.ca. And by the way, on the stroke heading, it says women face unique risks for stroke. So again, something you can learn there as well by going to the site and getting the information there. Carmi, thank you so much. Appreciate you letting everybody know.
Appreciate it, Aaron.
Take good care.
Thank you so much.
You bet. We'll talk next week.